Everybody, it's Patrick from Pitch Deck. We're just going to be going over our gameplay that we had here. We actually had another mirror that we're going to go into game two. G Money had the start for the turn this match because I gave him an option to do so. And this time he's going to play Ice Eternal straight from hand because there's not much value that you can get from Iyslander cards at the opening turn, but so Frostbites isn't a bad way to do it. But he decided to retake it instead of doing X equals 2 or X equals 4 for 2 Frostbites and 2 Arcane. He changed it to 1, which is fine. Typically, Frostbites is not a bad way to start because it stays around for the end of the turn instead of just like Winter's Bite or Cornet's Peak until their turn. So that's a little bit more permanent than just having them pay. And it just cycles their cards. I end up drawing a couple tomes here because this is the way I was trying, the deck that I was trying, but I ended up drawing 2 and it wasn't a great starting hand for my turn to go into his turn. I just take the 2 damage from Waning Moon and move on to my turn. Alright, drawing up to 4 cards, we do have a pretty nice opportunity to do a Ether Ice Vein for 4, pitching 4 I should say, and then doing 5 damage in the effect. I'm going to pay for that Frostbite. It isn't too bad because I do once again have the Tome in my hand for double Tome at the beginning, but it would have been nice to have Waning Moon for 2 if there were another blue in there. In terms of the game plan that you want to do for Iyslander versus Iyslander, you do want to make sure it's like the Frost Hex plan that you would want to approach into Oldham or another control. They definitely you did want to keep that as a key. It's not the win condition because a lot of the time you do want to make sure that you are tempoing as well to give a little bit of extra room for RNG. And when you RNG and save yourself for that, you're helping out with some of the Frost Hex, so chip damage to help out with only drawing 1 or 2 Frost Hexes, and whenever it gets to about 20 HP, at that point you don't need all 3. So he just goes ahead and takes 1 damage and puts the counter in his tunic, and then the 2 floating to pay for the effect. The tunic is really great at providing a lot of value over time, definitely for the mirror. You definitely want to keep that in there. The value is just really good. And then he went and moons me for 3, and I'd gladly take it. Frostbite and them paying for 1 is nice, but it just helps us turn on our Waning Moon as well. Especially if he's just going to do this play right here, which is basically Brain Freeze fused. Typically, that's what we like to do as wizards. If you keep a 2-card hand, you can either try to Cornet's Peak, which we know doesn't make too much of a difference, but at that point, you can either do that or a 0 freeze. And I wanted to do this so that way he can pay into it and not get an arsenal. The 2 damage isn't relevant, it's just the arsenal so that they can block him on their turn coming around. Still on the stack. Waning Moon. I pay into this Waning Moon because I'm allowing myself to choose between all the 0 costs that I have, which one being more impactful later on. And I know that Ice Spine isn't as crazy, but Winter's Bite's the best out of the 3. So I usually just have him come back around for another turn rather than have it now. Takes the Ice Spine, which is a little bit different. He has no arsenal, so he can't play anything on our turn, which is nice. Alright, cool. My turn will start. From there, we can just do Cornet Peak. Give him another 3 hand. Makes him just a little bit suffering. into their turn. And we can just arsenal and then go from there. They can't do anything on their turn unless they want to break their boots. At that point, you don't really want to. There's not much pressure.
This should be at 2, right? It's only
Yeah, you're at 2, yeah.
Well, someone said they can't comment on my stream. Should be working. Okay.
I think he had some problems with his stream, so he was getting it done real quick, and then he's taken from there. He's trying to decide what he would want to do, and I have him point out the boots to him, but I don't think he's gonna have anything else. That's why I was letting him know, hey, you got 2 floating, but you can't do anything about it.
Okay, I will go with.
Again, he got lucky with a 3-card hand and a red Ether Ice Vein. But of course, he has Blizzard in the main, and I'm not sure if he knows how to side it out or if he has room to side out for it. But of course, it's not really going to do much. Yeah, we're going to respond. This will go back to your hand too, because it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hang on. That doesn't matter too, but I guess it. Again, there's not much that I can do with the Arctic Incarceration, so I'll just keep it and just block it out. At this point, toss 2 blues and just go down to 1 damage, down to 29. Because he's not going to be really doing much at the end of his turn. It's just going to go away, and that's just no reason for anything other than chip damage with Waning Moon to activate. I'm trying to decide what I want to do on my turn. Which isn't a bad turn, because I do have 2 red Ether Ice Veins, or I should say blue, at this point. So even if it's 3 damage, he'll waste a blue trying to eat the effect and AB it. Actually, I do end up playing it, so apparently I do want to get that in there. Just for the sake of Waning Moon. That probably would have been the smarter play, is to keep it in my arsenal at that point. Here, so that's from the 4, because that's the most I can do. I'm gonna have 2 left over. I'm gonna take 2 damage, and I'm going to go up to 2 trigger 6 on there. So I don't know why I took 2 damage when I should have taken just 1.
Okay, and then it will cost me 4 to attack with my staff. Okay, so not have go again. So I'll attempt to end.
Tunic, Waning Moon 3. I guess I'm on the tempo plan, in my opinion, is to just Waning Moon and give the Frostbites. Didn't really matter to me at that point, just Waning Moon to help keep our life totals at certain bay. But I'm guessing, to me, the arsenal is the part where I'm thinking, I'm not giving him another arsenal again at that point. If he wants to pay into it, he wants to pay into it, which is fine. But robbing him another arsenal for 2 turns in a row, I'm guessing that's what I was thinking.
I'll respond with. Oh, that could be really strong here, actually.
Again, Cornet Peak, because he has 3-card hand. Trying to get him to where I can strip cards from his hand. He wants to pay into my expose the elements for my tunic at that point. Which would rob me of my arsenal. Ooh, divine me an arsenal. That's good. And it's pretty much a no-brainer, no arsenal or no tunic. And at this point, it's going to be a long game. So I choose, of course, pay. Not worth the arsenal slot. He paid into it with a blue brain freeze because it was 1. And then we move on. He was able to play. I'm not sure exactly why I took the damage or allowed him to do it. I wasn't thinking, because he didn't play anything on my turn. it was a non-attack that you got to play. So I got to remember to think about that. Keep that in mind. He's just going to Arsenal and pass. Do you? Actually, no, I don't. Actually, I forgot that I can't do anything. At this point, I could do something via brutes, but I'm not going to. Okay. So let's do the extra damage that I take and that he shouldn't have been able to give me was help me and hurt me at the same time. Because I had the tunic. At this point, I'm just going to race face because I'm not going to use anything for the defense reaction. So I'm just going to use that and hit the race face. Basically, it shuts down your ice. Which shut off his turn if he has a certain hand set up. Ice fuse, channel lake, anything like that.
I'm taking 6, so will block. I'll just block.
He goes ahead and gives me one card, taking 4, and doesn't matter about the ice part or wizard part. Right now, basically, your ice cards and everything is gonna just like. As one thing to keep in mind is if you get erased faced by another wizard in the wizard mirror towards the end of the match, you're gonna have to realize you can't use your Storm Shredder boots on a wizard card. Because if you do get hit, you got to make sure that is a thing that you got to keep in mind.
Actually, just based on my hand, it's actually. Oh God.
And I believe that might have been something that I was telling him at that point where it does affect his boots, but I'm sure he's not going to do anything at that point. I do Arsenal and drop. I'm thinking what he had might have been a red, which oddly you don't want to use red if you can help it.
This on your arsenal.
Alright, so you're gonna do that during your turn. Especially, well, it was a blue, but it didn't have any much impact. That is one thing to keep in mind whenever you're using Cold Snap. It's just going to be a one resource cantrip. It's not really going to do much against us because we can just remove our arsenal and not have to pay. Basically, just I'm going to have 2 extra resources and you're going to have a frostbite. Depending on what you pitch. Yeah. So you're just paying. And he ended up pitching an encase at this point. Because he did an encase, I say, hey, I want you to pay 1. He didn't want to pay a blue. That's why I did this. Which, if he had the resources, he would do it. So now he paid in 1 extra card. Which means he's desperate for a blue and he would have been able to pay for that on his turn, but he didn't have it, so that's why he didn't do it. He's just gonna arsenal and pass at that point, but I'm gonna probably do something on his turn. Again, that also tells me that he probably doesn't have a blue to pitch into the moon and he wants to save it for his arsenal next turn, which is a very good way to enter some chip damage, but I decided against it. I think it was this potential high fuse, high frostbite damage turn that I was thinking about, which is basically just Icebind, give you 4 frostbites, and you get your arsenal potential threatened.
So it's just 1 damage, right?
Yeah, and then this will come first, though.
With the 4 frostbites.
Yeah, you just don't want to walk in him through the interaction of what's going on right now.
I was thinking if I want to prevent the arcane damage, but
oh yeah, you can think about it.
Yeah, I'll just pitch this to stop the fraud, so stop the arcane.
Yeah, good idea. Alright, he's gonna pay into it and then just get the 4 frostbites, which is fine, I guess. And then a move to Arsenal. I don't know if he wanted to do anything with 4 frostbites on the field, even though he does have 2 up. He'll just pass his turn at that point. To his turn, he's gonna have 4 beefy frostbites, which I'm not so sure he had a blue in his hand from that last arsenal. Because again, he could have paid into the moon, but then he was thinking he wants to save that blue for his arsenal. Which, in my thinking, reviewing this now, he doesn't have a blue. And he has a red.
This would cost me 4 to play that?
Yeah, if it's 0.
May as well. I'll play this for 4.
Wants to give me 3 frostbites. I hate to do this to you. Paying for 3 frostbites, or paying for 4 frostbites to give me 3 frostbites isn't a bad interaction, but it feels pretty bad whenever you're just trading frostbites at this point. And then we will pitch this first off the boat. And it all comes down to what I want to do on my turn. And then this will just it's fine if it goes to 5, but and he has a little bit of struggle there with his BTS. And I still have 2 floating, and I can't remember if I just rewind this. Yeah, so basically, rewind it back to your hand. I want to Ice Bind fused and have that a channel in my arsenal rather than just chip damage. But at this point, I guess I rather just have the chip damage and then arsenal the channel like. I do get those names mixed up. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, this will go away. I'm gonna attempt to end this turn, and then you can do stuff now.
Let's see. Do I have anything I can do?
I haven't seen a frost hex at this point of the time. If I had, it'd be already at the beginning, and I didn't play them, but they're definitely hiding from me at this point.
When it says your next turn, that means my next turn, right?
So when it says, and then he's thinking about something about what he wants to do, maybe rob me of my arsenal.
No, I won't do anything.
All right, arsenal is good. He will draw 4. He elects to let it go. Thing is, he had some CNCs in as well as summer race faces, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to say CNCs is just something that you just don't put in versus Iyslander, especially if you have it in the arsenal. If you're bleeding for blues, then maybe, but even then, a red attack is just not great. Because even if you did put like an Aether Ice Vein in your arsenal, you could just basically at that point flash it in or basically play it as an instant with your boots. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to figure out what I want to pitch for this channel like Frigid. I think I kind of need to take the damage here. Actually, no, I could take a little bit damage break here. And my thinking is I could probably Cornet Peak or play that and then Arsenal, play the Amulet and then Arsenal, and then just take 6 damage, in which I do. At that point, it's not really going to do anything, just vanilla 6 damage.
I had the wrong fucking link up for this. So you take 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will.
You have 2 ways of thinking whenever it comes to my turn. This turn is to your opponent is going to start having arcane damage coming down on you towards the end, and you are so as well. That's going to be a thought that needs to start crossing into your head. However, making it harder for wizards to pay one extra with like Channel Lake Frigid is not so much more impactful for as it is for her. I'm explaining the sort of like the full discount that you get from Channel Lake Frigid because most people don't know is that the tunic you get here will pay for the full discount of Waning Moon. Typically, when you activate two things at once, when they don't have to pay, you're paying one for each activation. However, the neat thing about the Alluvian is with Waning Moon, you pay one to activate the discount of Waning Moon, but it's two, and the discounts that it gives from the tunic is three. So you don't have to pay into it. So I'm just letting him know whenever he wants to do that. Most people don't think about that, and it's just test at this point because he did seem to be a little bit new at playing Wizard, especially in the mirror. That's something that he needs to remember. This will be for free. Your staff will be for free.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's what people don't know.
Nice. Okay.
And at this point, I'm just going to put the cards underneath and then keep my Channel Lake for another turn. Because of Channel Lake, I would just pitch to Cornet Peak and then go from there. But if Channel Lake was not up there and it was another ice blue that I had pitched from last Arsenal, I just would have Amulet and then Arsenal. Move to my instep. He pays into it, and then he may use something else as well.
So I'm still taxed 1 right now, right?
Correct.
So this will cost 2. So I'll spend my 2 to hit you with that.
He has to pay 2 into this one, so basically 2 for 2 damage. And a Frostbite on top. But the Frostbite won't matter. I'm just going to be Arsenaling this turn. It's about thinking if I want to pitch into this arcane damage or the arcane damage that's going to come from Waning Moon. Which, of course, I told him before, you have to pay 1 resource and then Tunic and then Waning Moon. No. 2 goes for Aether Hail. Oh, it goes through. Myself, I'm just thinking, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to pay or let the 2 damage go. But if he Waning Moons, I'll more than likely pay into the Waning Moon, so I have a Tunic counter on mine. Yeah, you would pay 1 resource to activate the Tunic, and then you can use it.
So I'd pitch 1 to play the 2. Correct. And then I can staff you, basically? Yeah. Okay. So I'll pay 1, 2.
And again, he does pay into the Tunic, and then he does pay into that, which I gladly will just keep the prevention going. And the pressure still is a little bit more because of the Channel Lake Frigid. He's having just to pay 3 arcane, which we will gladly prevent. It depends on just what we want to do on our turn. Either play the Frost Hex or the Chill. And I can't remember if I play the Hex or not. He doesn't have an Arsenal next turn, so Ice-Spine isn't crazy. Personally, I would have put the Ice-Spine into it and block 1 and then take 2. It's not fused, so there's just basically a zap. That means I won't be able to use my Tunic if I let the damage come through. But if you care about life, and if you care about the damage that's going to be starting to come through, you might want to just pay full blue.
Matchup is actually more fun than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like, you need that poker dealer button to make sure everybody's turn is tracked, but
I thought it would be AIDS, but it's actually pretty good.
All right.
I like the Phi matchup a lot. I win that like 80% right now.
Which at this point it seems to be a little bit better because once one person gets too low compared to the other person when it comes to the mirror of Iyslander, it's different. It's different. You're not going to be able to jump the big life gap like Kano does versus Kano. It's a little bit different because you can't just go crazy with the damage. Yeah, we'll try to get the damage and we'll tunic in 3. And then yeah, you're good. And again, I don't know why I did this because I didn't play another attack. I'm guessing we're both learning, and then he thinks, oh, we have to do this. We have to play an attack, or we actually have to play something and then go from there. But I forget that I actually have to play something. All right, we'll do. Which what I'm thinking is actually would be on his turn instead, not my turn. I don't really want to give you much of a turn, so I think I could just. One thing to do here is I can play chill, but I won't have a blue arsenal in store for him on his turn.
That's a mirror. Gone.
And there's also the account that the channel link fridge is going to be gone, which typically doesn't really affect too much of Iyslander because he has so many blues and not too many action cards played. Yeah, we'll just Cornet Peak. So I choose to just Cornet Peak and then Arsenal to chill. Save the Icebind for a rainy day because he doesn't have Arsenal currently. And he's not able to do anything in instant speed, which really hinders an Iyslander because at that point you're just having no arsenal and then a 3-card hand. You can't play anything at instant speed, which would help because of the resources that you have left open. Don't sleep on Cornet Peak whenever the opponent doesn't have an arsenal. Keep that in mind whenever you're able to prevent the arsenal from the next turn and then go on to that. Now he has to play with a 3-card hand instead of 4.
Damn, still no flake frigid for me. My god. Alright, I'll play this.
Giving a frostbite here would be really nice because they're going to have to pay into the waning moon or lose their arsenal. Pay into the waning moon and lose their arsenal at the same time. They can't do both. They have 2 resources, or if they had a 0 cost, then that would have been different. However, this gives them a frostbite and basically chill, which we use for later on, but he's using the 2 from the exposed as an instant resource. Or instant to get behind it, but he realizes that he can't use it. He would have to fuse it to be able to get that ability. Now he has that frostbite, and he's still stuck with the same dilemma. Now, at this point, you have to decide what you want to do on your turn. And it's either pay into it and keep the life total, or just do what you want to do on your turn.
Right.
If you want to, it's still in your opportunity window.
Yeah. So before I get the frostbite, I'll attempt to spend 2 and hit you with the staff. Because you can staff before it resolves, right?
Yeah. So like the thing is, you're still passing priority, and I don't think you actually said it was good. So yeah, you're
right, but
you're still good.
My question is, so the staff says you have to play a
With this hand, I think I pay into it and then just arsenal the blue. Keep myself alive and give myself a 4th counter. And then ping him for 3. Then you can actually say your Insidious Chill is good, and then the frostbite trigger will happen.
Okay, so then I'll attempt to hit you for 2 in response to Insidious.
2. Which probably is what he's thinking is the waning moon will have to come in for an additional, which is the one that he was thinking on top of it before the frostbite actually comes through.
And that's it for me then.
Oh wait, did I have the? I don't think I did the 2 from this one too because we were deciding from the thing.
Yeah, my bad.
All right, so yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Anything else?
At this point, we need the chip in damage. 3. And that means take the damage or lose your arsenal. Yeah, that's it from time.
I'll arsenal this. This goes to the bottom. I'll draw my 4.
During this iteration of the deck, I had the idea that Tome of Aetherwind was great in the general sense of all decks, rather than just red snatch, because it's sort of the same blocks for 2 and it's red, but it was more into Dramai for snatch. But for this, it's more generalized because you could just say, I want to draw 2 cards, and at this point, I get to choose what I want to arsenal and then Waning Moon as well. However, I took it out of the deck later on because it's a little bit more gimmicky to draw cards rather than just to survive. And then I get to just Waning Moon and home at the same time. If this was the only card in your hand, that'd be the thing to do unless you got unlucky and drew 2 reds. He wants to think about what I want to do. Or he wants to do. He just lets it go. And at this point, I can choose what to Waning Moon and then choose what to Arsenal. It's a better broad decision at that point. Frostbite's technically is not great since we don't have X's. I think I end up just saving my counters and just getting that free Waning Moon with the cards that I have in hand. Because you're not always going to be preventing damage. So you may want to just save your Tunic counters. Even if it's just 2 damage, it's preventing some. It's sending damage to help out with the distance of life totals between the 2 of us. Might as well, since you have so many cards in hand, you can't do anything else.
No response from me.
He takes the 2 damage, and I have 1 left floating, and then allows him to just do whatever he wants on my turn. I have a lot of blues, but he wants to cold snap.
This card seems useless in this matchup.
I haven't been sold on Bleak yet.
I haven't even used it.
I don't pay because I don't have an arsenal or ally. That resolves.
Okay, cool. So then I will draw. And then I will spend 2 to attempt to hit you for 3.
I gladly pay into the Waning Moon to help prevent most of the damage. At this point, Frostbite and damage is a little bit better than Channeling Frigid because of the apparent blues that we have, and it can just eat through it with the actions as well, as I was saying before. So if you have the choice between Channel Lake Frigid and Ice Eternal, always choose that one. It's a little bit better. And it gives me a reason to start using my chills at that point. I was also testing with yellow Ether Ice Vein, which is really good. It's a great card for tempo. Nothing wrong with it. I think I cut it out later on because there's just certain many slots that I want to try to get for my deck. But this one I was just testing. This is just being a case for 3 if it hits, freezing my equipment. Which would mean my Tunic will not be able to use. Which is fine. I'm not going to use it on my turn. I'm going to use it on their turn, so the damage doesn't really matter. Or I should say the damage effect, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think about how much I want to pay into this. Which I end up paying 4, remaining 2 and 2. And the chill trigger comes in as well. And I basically fuse it for the snap.
Okay. 1 second.
It's one of those things that it's not a May ability for the chill. It's straight. You have to take this effect. So it's robbing him of 2 resources, which could help pay into the arcane damage as well.
Oh, to make me discard.
But depending on his hand, it may rob him of his arsenal, and it's a pretty nice thing to put into.
I'll pay 2 with that.
Which he did have the blue, but if he has another red, or if he has a red, he's just going to be doing 2 damage and then take the 2 damage. Sometimes whenever you are in certain even life totals, you may want to take the damage to give yourself that arsenal.
I would Waning Moon right here.
Yeah, you can Waning Moon now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yep. And he just pays into it. I have 1 left loading, and then pitching erase. At this point myself, I'm thinking erase face is not the greatest. So I'm just going to pay into the damage that he gave me. And get the tunic triggers. This is your turn because you just hit me with tunic counters.
Okay. Got it. So I did fuse it, so all your stuff's frozen right now.
So the thing is, your ice eternal still gonna be. You do want to take the 2 damage from this by chance?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. So now my damage has to hit for the in case. Do I care about 3 damage in my equipment? Not particularly, because I'm just going to do this before the damage hits. At this point, you will take 3 damage, or lose that arsenal card, which he'll go down to 13. He gladly takes. And then I'll take 3, yep.
I already Waning Moon, so I guess I'll arsenal this and draw my 4.
Alrighty. We're going to do that. Alright, my turn will start, and I'm going to pass back to you.
Okay.
This is closer. Oh, wait, that was into your turn, and then now this is my turn. Yeah, so this is gone.
Yeah.
His frostbites go away. And I'm just going to be ending my turn. The thing you can realize for the mirrors is if you've got 1 card in hand, it's either you take whatever damage I give you in the form of blue arcane, or the Waning Moon, because you may not be doing anything like a Winter's Bite, which will force you to discard or pay 1, and then that'll be just backbreaking like I've been doing to him the last few turns at the very beginning.
Let's see. My audio's messing up. Okay, bet it fixed it. All right. What did? It's my turn.
No, the end of my turn. If you want to do something in instant speed.
Right. That seems bad to do here. But I want to like put pressure on you to hit you.
So he ends up putting a Channel Lake on my turn. Whether or not it really helps me or hurts me is not really that great, but it's, you really don't get too much value out of it when it goes into the mirror, because of the fact that we have so many blues and not so many actions that we're doing.
No, I guess that's not bad. That's fine. I'll do that for 1.
And he's probably deciding whether or not to moon me or not. Which would be 2 cards out of his hand. You have to realize if the opponent has 2 cards in your hand, or if you're leaving yourself with 2 cards in your hand, it comes back to the circle of not having an potentially have an arsenal, but he just lets me have it, and I know he has a Channel Lake. So it's on his turn, he can just do whatever he wants. And towards the end of the mirror match, I think it's probably smart just to keep your hand to a solid 2 or 3 cards, because whenever you end the turn with a little less of those cards, where it comes down to 1 or 2, then you're opening yourself up for game-ending damage. He ends up playing an Ice Spine with a Channel Lake or a Blizzard Fuse,
Yeah, I'm just trying to throw.
which would hit my arsenal, but of course doesn't really do much with us. But you could have just had the damage come through and not really give information about what ice the cards that you have in your hand. I know he has a Channel Lake in there, so I'm just gonna see if he wants to keep it or not. Which more than likely he'll just pay into it. It's more than likely you can just pay into it and then you can send it out. Or pay in the Waning Moon.
Until the end of my turn.
Until the start of my next. Pay for it with a blue, and then you can Waning Moon for the 2 left over.
No, I'll leave my arsenal there. It's fine.
Okay, so you're not pay. Okay. And of course, you have to wait until he decides before you draw. Okay. So once I have everything ready, then you draw from at that point. That means what do you want to do next turn? My turn. Am I not gonna draw the card or what? Okay, so this card will resolve, and I'm gonna pay for the damage. I'm gonna pay 2 out of the 3. So we have 2 left floating. I guess I'm paying into the arcane before I even draw, so I forget to draw a card, which hurts me as well. I don't know why I forgot about that.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else you're doing?
Currently, let's see if you have anything else at the during your turn.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna spend the frostbite hit and attempt to hit you for 3.
He pays the full 3 into it. So this is your turn, so 2.
Yeah, sorry, 2, 2, 2.
Being aggressive is not bad, especially whenever you want to keep chipping in with. And then I don't Illuvian because with Moon in the mirror, because it allows your opponent to think, do I want to keep this 1 or 2 cards that I have in my hand or not?
And then I'll attempt to end.
I probably should have just arsenaled the or paid the Channel Lake and then arsenaled the Ice Eternal. Seeing that now.
Pivot a card.
E and Q.
Okay, cool.
Alright, so now that's unfrozen because it's the start of my turn. So my turn will start, and in case pitching or fusing Channel Lake. At the start of his turn, he's able to play it. And then shield's coming in. And then my shield comes through with in case. Oh, that's the reason why I'm thinking is to use in case plus the chill.
I'll pay.
But I would have a better choice if I had drawn the card from the snap that I missed. Alright, chill, come back. Okay. And then just 3 damage. And then basically discards the red.
I'll block 1.
And then pays another red. Or actually he discarded and now he's paying into it.
You're good.
I'm taking 1 damage, so now his equipment is frozen. The Frost Hex is coming at the end is a little rough. Because typically you would like to get that in there. I believe that Channel Lake is still in his arsenal. This is actually a little bit... At this point I can just block out with the 2 hexes because it really doesn't matter at this point. Arsenal card. King for Frostbites might be just a little bit better with Ice Eternal, but I have the Channel Lake Frigid and it's not going to do too much. I have the ice cards to keep it around, but it's all about what I'm going to be able to do in my turn. It's still 6 damage though.
It is a thick damage, yes.
I'm not sure how many cards I have in my deck, but at this point, if I'm looking at this video right now, I do Frost Hex and Frosting. That way I pitch the Frost Hex the next turn into the Cornet's Peak to keep the Channel Lake around if I'm going to pay into it. 40 cards. But that's all dependent on me, if I wanted to play it or not. So let's just do one here, and then yep, I end up doing that play. That'll be a 6.
Blocking all 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have one left over that doesn't matter, so I'll attempt to end.
Damn it. Thing is, I don't have the Ice Eternal, and I won't have an Arsenal. So best not to just play it right now and just Cornet Peak. That's what I would do. I might end up doing it. Start out be a simple turn. Actually, I just played straight out. No cards in hand. Getting the extra damage might be a little bit smart too. Time to snappies.
I will
wide open. But because I have one more charge on the chill, I think I would have just Hornet Peak and then kept the Ice Eternal in my hand.
This, or for that rather, and then I will activate this from my hand, paying this, fusing with this. Well, the fusing doesn't matter here, right?
Yeah, I guess it's fine. The fuse really won't matter because of the thing. Yeah, so I'm and I don't have anything. I'll have to take the 5 because of that.
And then I will do 3 more.
He used his boots in response to it. Yep, 3. Which is basically just a 5 damage because there's no effect for me to actually gain anything from that too. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that was not on your turn. That was on my turn. That was dumb. Okay. He still does have 2 left over, and he uses it for Moon, which puts me down significantly.
I have nothing else.
It's a good play by him, but I took some unnecessary damage at the beginning of the match. Should have taken 3 less damage, and I would have been at 6 right now. Okay, yeah, I won't tunic the Waning Moons that were at the beginning, and I just didn't realize that he had played it without non-attack. He still has the Channel Lake in there, as so does I. And we're probably both looking at each other saying, this isn't great, this isn't fast. Or we both have it stuck in our arsenal. So you're gonna just end? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do something here. So it's a good thing to point out that if you have a Channel Lake, you might want to get it up pretty quick. Damn. There's a chance of me popping my boots, but yeah, I don't have any. I could put the 3 into it. I can pop it with Encase and then fuse it with Ice and Hoff and then go from there, but and then Waning Moon for free. Sort of what he did to me just now. It'll be my turn.
Well, actually, I mean, I probably should just Cornet Peak you, right?
Oh yeah, you do have the Frostbite. I can't remember. I remember because wait, no, that was from earlier. I'm sorry. No, you don't have a Frostbite. I didn't play anything.
I guess I will just do this. I'll just do this.
Okay, Corner Peak. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just do. Which one we want to do? Actually, what is the play here? Which doing this now would be great because he can't pay into the arcane damage like he had for me, and I probably would have an empty hand. But then that just leaves me open to attack. We will pay the 1 from Cornet Peak. Even though I know that the Channel Lake Fridge is in there and he can't do anything but just play it out and then play Moon, but yep, you can drop. No, I just realized I'm dumb. But then again, I guess it really doesn't matter. I just did my only ice card. Fuck. That was a rip. I just realized that. missed opportunity here because it's my turn now, and then I should have just stayed into it with in case. And I don't have an ice fuse, which would help with the chill trigger. And just vanilla 3, that's a mistake on my part. But I'm thinking probably the rewind, it might be what's stuck in my head.
I'll block one.
Block 1, taking 2.
That good?
Yeah, you're good. He ends up getting the counter. And then taking 2.
Something like now you have priority, right? I'd have to respond.
Again, we both have our channel lakes and our arsenal this entire time.
Now I'm just gonna be like,
yeah. So after damage, I want to do something.
okay. The thing is that will resolve. It comes back to me.
Okay, so then I would do it.
I know he has 2 left over, and that's probably what he's thinking.
Okay, so because I want this to be on the field here, so
He's probably trying to get that channel lake out of his arsenal, which is completely fine.
Now the damage happens. He took it, and then that goes through. You think
I can respond to the channel lake before the frostbite hits the stack.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
which is probably what I'm thinking.
that you've got going on there.
sure.
Which gives him the opportunity in between layers. Basically, he plays it, and then that goes on the stack, and then I'm basically rewind it, and I know don't get that frostbite,
The trigger doesn't ever happen because it's never coming through.
Gotcha.
which is pretty fine with me.
So, yep.
And he can't do the waning moon
I'll attempt to hit you for the 3. Well, I haven't played it.
Yeah.
because I told him that it basically negates it out,
It actually never resolves. The resolves never.
and it didn't happen.
Down. Yep.
Okay, then yeah.
4. Your turn.
And this is where I lose the game because I'm not paying attention.
How much does this cost too? I'll just put some pressure on you, I guess. I'll play.
Well, actually, I have one more turn. CNC into the mirror, not so great. You can just block it out or pretty much go from there. Double ice bind block, and I keep my channel lake. Knowing what I know now, I should have just blocked with the red ice bind, lost my channel lake frigid, and blocked with the erase face. So block 5, take 1, lose my arsenal, have 2 blues left up, and then I can just go ahead and go from there. But I end up playing it out.
That's pitching that for 1 left over, and then you get a frostbite,
Gives him a frostbite.
and then we will.
Even if I ice bind waning moon,
like
I end up using the peak.
that.
Might as well
5.
Locking 5 and taking 1.
take
damage.
1.
That's my block.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, cool. Now this will be a frostbite plus channel lake.
Yep, I got nothing, no response. So I will attempt to end. Oh, and go to Arsenal.
Might as well give him some damage with the tuna trigger. Give him 3 damage.
3 damage.
Have him pay into it or whatnot.
I'll block 1.
Take 2. Okay.
Yeah,
You're good.
Arsenal this. I take 1.
And of course, I'm just tunnel vision when it came to this end here, and all I'm thinking about is keeping the channel lake around, which is fine. Pay into the race face with this blue, meaning that I'm in kill range, and I didn't potentially think about it.
Oh wait, never
So
mind.
just get it out for free, and I have one left over, so this is basically GG.
in response to
And I wasn't thinking.
Oh no, I forgot. I'm dumb. I didn't have any arcane barrier.
You didn't even have to do anything. You just played this
kill you with that.
blue ice bolt, and that's what you learn. You learn and you keep things. Of course, like I said before, I think there's just extra damage at the beginning, but it still really wouldn't matter. I kind of made some mistakes, and I think he did too, but this is just learning at this point. Thanks for watching, guys.